Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic host of Bachelor Nation News. Third video of this Tuesday, December 27th, 2022. Andrew Spencer and Justin Glaze were on the Almost Famous podcast, and they shared a lot of information. We've already shared this in our first video with Michelle Young, where they talked about Rodney and why he should have been the Bachelor over Zach or Clayton. In this video, Justin admits that Tayshia is the one that he wanted, and he wanted on Bachelor in Paradise, which of course she wouldn't go on. She's too famous. Right now, maybe her stock will go down. As we speak towards how much people are in the news or their engagement rate, I'm not sure, but right now it ain't gonna happen. Then he talks about Eliza, what went down with his sort of love triangle with Rodney, and so much more. So we're gonna get into all of this right now. There's a lot to talk about here. Let's just play the trailer that they have on the Almost Famous podcast first, and then we'll play the several different clips.
Justin, explain the treat that was left by your meet and greet area.
The one?
Mm-hmm. The one.
So, throughout the night, Andrew and I, we got a couple Christmas cards. We got a nice water bottle.
Yep.
Very
couple numbers. Yep.
couple numbers. I was asking for, some recommendations around the area, Newport, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the night, we received a thong.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow!
Was
Came
it
right out.
was it like
Can't believe I'm gonna say this, but it's like kind of like a tasteful amount of crazy. Not crazy,
Yeah.
crazy, but like it's a little bit. It's like funny
Mhm.
crazy. You know what I mean? Like for somebody to do like it's bold, crazy,
Yeah.
funny.
does this
And
surprise us being that he dated Genevieve and Victoria in
Yeah.
Paradise?
Not at all. Yeah, Gemini, everyone. He's Gemini. He's been killed as an Aquarius and a friend. I've seen how he loves just the bad banter, the toxic kind of banter.
That's not.
You guys have like legitimately just told your Paradise story so simply. You're with Teddy the Virgin, and then he was with just the right touch of crazy.
The right touch of crazy, of course, that being Genevieve and Victoria. I didn't realize they talked about being in Newport. They were at Audrey's, which is Ashley's coffee shop in Rhode Island, and then mentioned they were going to Newport, my hometown. Come on, Andrew, Justin, reach out to me. I'll give you some recommendations for my hometown. All right, so we're going to jump to the 42-minute mark. There's a lot in this podcast. You can go listen to it. I'm just kind of breaking it down and giving you the highlights, but of course, go support the original stuff here. But let's just have a listen. I love the way Andrew's such a great guest on podcast because he brings out the fun in other people that he's with. He did the same thing with Greg Grippo. He's doing the same thing with Justin here. All right, so we're going to listen.
All right, what is it going to take to get you in Paradise? And they're like, who do you want to see? And I was like, well, she ain't going to be there. And they were like, who? I was like, you get Tayshia on that beach, I'll be there tomorrow. They were like, all right, we'll see what we can do. But obviously that was not going to happen.
Have you slid into Tayshia's DMs? Have you ever met her in real life?
Oh, yeah. I mean, she was co-host with us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've talked before. Like,
Did you try to test the waters there?
no.
Yeah.
No, I haven't. Nah.
When she was your host, she was still in a relationship.
Correct, yeah. No, I think she's great.
Cool.
So Justin couldn't slide into Tayshia's DMs because she was still in a relationship when Justin co-hosted with her. Well, hey, she's single now as far as we know, Justin, so see what it's all about.
Let's try to set it up.
Yeah, hook a brother up.
Okay. Okay, so she wasn't gonna come, but so who else was on your list?
Yeah, so I had a very short list in no particular order. I was like Genevieve, Sally, Eliza.
Okay.
Were the three.
All three show up.
Yeah.
He liked Genevieve, Sally, and Eliza. That's a very dramatic trio right there.
That was my very short list. And I had no strategy going into Paradise. So I remember I was on a podcast and they were asking me like, "Oh, who are you looking forward to seeing?" And I was like, "I'm going to keep it close to the vest."
So the whole question, who are you looking forward to seeing? This is what the show does. They'll pair who you're interested in. They'll look down the whole list. They'll see who they can put on the beach. I mean, there must be some board with headshots where they just scramble it all together because they don't just randomly throw 30 people. No. They know where the side stories are. They knew Sally and Justin had previously made out. They know all these things.
Like, because people were like almost claiming, it's like, I don't want to put any pressure on the situation. I've never met, you know, 2 out of the 3, I'd never met Genevieve or Eliza. So I'm like, this is purely speculation. But I was like, again, honest guy, I was like, I met Sally, you know, like I know she's cool. So if she was there.
You made out in Stagecoach,
right.
Yeah.
And
I love Ashley that she'll call these things out. She has no problem. Oh yeah, I made out with her. Like Ashley just knows because she's a fan now. That's why I think Ashley does a really good job with their podcast. You guys know me. I'm the first to criticize people for their audio or their quality. Ashley is an alumni and also a fan, and I think that's what makes her so good at what she does.
that was it. Right. So I was like, I've met this person, so I can vouch for her and like personality, be like, yeah, I think we would connect. Right. And people took that, since that was the only name that I said, is like, oh my God, they're planning to. I'm like, no, I have others that I just don't want to throw out there because I'm such an in-person guy. I was like, I want to see their personalities, you know, in person.
He goes, I've got others. I've got a binder full of women. I've got a disgruntled docket, if you will. I've got
not just from TV and social media, so I don't want to shout their names out. And so when I got down there, obviously, you know, Genevieve first.
And by the way, very smart. He doesn't want to share with the world who is on his list because God forbid he's like, and he already did it with Tayshia, but God forbid he's like, oh, you know, all I want is to meet Katie Thurston. Okay, Katie Thurston's a bad example. She, you know, they were on the season together. But the point being is if he falls for someone that wasn't on this list, they're going to be like, well, why don't you go back to flirting with Tayshia, you know?
Then, you know, Sally was there for like 25 minutes. And
Do you think that they were trying so hard to get her down there? It almost seemed like against her will at a certain point because they thought that it could stir things up with the situations you were in?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, I remember I came back from my date with Victoria and I go to the bar to get a drink from Wells and they have somebody come up like, hey, Justin, did you hear about Sally's suitcase? I'm like, what are you guys talking about? And they're like trying to get a reaction out of me. I'm like, what? You know, and they did the whole suitcase saga thing. I'm like, okay, I know what's going on, right?
The whole suitcase saga. Yeah, Justin didn't really take the bait as far as the drama goes. He really, I mean, there was a few dramatic moments, but not nearly what could have been. No, do I think that he's there for all the right reasons? I think he's about as close as you're going to get to somebody who's very much emotionally mature. Let me know what you guys think about that. He's an artist, though. He's going to wear his heart on his sleeve. I think the show could benefit from having that type, an artist and someone who's passionate like that. Now, could the show producers not think that Justin's ready and they kind of put him more in the F-boy mentality? Maybe. What do I know? I don't know if he's ready or not.
The ultimate gift. Energizer.
All right, here we go.
You
Next
come
clip.
in and, you know, Eliza has a thing with Rodney. He is like in love, calling her future wifey, all this. Andrew, how awkward did you feel that like your two best guys were there like trying to fight over the same girl?
And Andrew, you didn't hear that off mic. Andrew said that's the worst. Yeah, so what you had here is you have Rodney and Justin, very good friends and also good friends with Andrew, and no one was in the wrong. They're on a TV show where they're trying to find love, so they're not in the wrong, but it was heart-wrenching because Justin was made out to be the bad guy who kind of came in for Eliza when she was already established with Rodney.
It was so stressful because they're both great guys, and you know, when Justin came down, the only difference was if they would have started at the same time, then it's like, oh well, let's see how it plays out. But I had got to see Rodney and Eliza like a week before for a week, and I mean like they were like attached to the hip, and I'm seeing just smiles, and like and he's talking about all these things, and Justin comes down, and I'm like, oh, he's coming for her, you know what I mean? And then I'm like, okay, well, let's see how it goes. You mean let the best man win? I'm gonna try and stay neutral as possible. You know, I'm just like I'm not gonna jump into this one, and I think they put a soundbite in me saying like. But I was talking about Eliza. I was like, Eliza sees Justin, and he's like this shiny new toy. Like we've been here on a week. When you're,
that was messed up.
When we're on the beach doing the same thing for a week. Like you want to look for something different or like get a little bit of different aspect. I feel like that's off the jump. I'm not saying he was anything wrong. I'm saying that she was seeing it as him coming down. Like, oh wow, there's another boy here that I'm interested in. You know what I mean? I want to go and and I was like, oh wow. I think you have a guy right now who's like literally throwing the kitchen sink at you. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I looked at it. And, I was like, very supportive of both of them. And I think I looked after him a little bit more when it comes to like knowing how the off screen was going to happen because we were talking about it the whole time. We are like, Yeah, we know Rodney's very loved in this franchise.
I knew.
So Andrew knew that Justin was going to get vilified, and Justin, being Andrew's friend, he kind of felt bad for him.
I knew it was going to probably look bad for me.
And then when you went home, I was like, oh, that was low key best scenario for for just the backlash happening.
And then of course Justin is approached by Eliza in Baltimore, and he kind of is like, I don't know if we should do this. You kind of didn't want me earlier.
I think it would have been very uncomfortable.
Was that, especially when you watch it back and a lot of your friends seem to be on his team?
Yeah, I mean, it sucked. Even coming back on the beach, like, I felt like the new guy. I felt like super ostracized, and it was very uncomfortable. I mean, I remember coming in that night to get Eliza to take her on the date. Like, you could hear a pin drop. It was so uncomfortable. And yeah, it sucked. Like, I felt really guilty for being the person to come in and do that, and laser focused. And that's what was so frustrating, because I was willing to do all that, knowing the repercussions.
All right, so I don't know why this clip ended here, but the summary that I received was that he, a lot of people have wondered why did things not work out with Justin and Eliza, and to summarize it. He went to LA to see her, and this is from his side, could have been differently. She wouldn't tell him where she was.
This episode of Almost Famous is brought to you by...
She wouldn't tell him where she was, and when it came down to seeing her, she kind of ghosted on him. That was kind of the idea. I don't know what the truth is there, but either way, the Justin and Eliza thing just wasn't going to work out. There's probably a spark there, but clearly just not in the same place, in the right place, right time. But either way, if Tayshia's around Justin, slide in, see what that's all about. All right, let me know what you guys think. I've got one more clip coming to you guys after this, so stick around. And also, don't forget, Bachelor Rush Hour, the podcast, is available every afternoon. I'm going to give you some more behind-the-scenes look into what I've got going on as it ties into the Bachelor world. So we'll get to that right after this. And if you want extra bonus content, go to patreon.com/Dave Neal to catch my behind-the-scenes Drive with Dave if you need some extra behind-the-scenes glimpse into our little life, our road trips, what we got going on this week. Anyway, folks, we're wrapping it up. 2022, almost over. We'll see you right after this.